Before I get to you all, let me say this is a challenging time in the life of our nation. Seeing the world seems to be spinning apart. Each and every day we see another headline that troubles our spirit. A Catholic priest laid to rest just a day ago in France, murdered at the hands of ISIS terrorists in the very pews of his own church. And here at home, the frustration and the angst that we all feel, we know it can be better. But the other part of it that troubles me is that it just seems like the focus these days is on what divides us more than what unites us. You know, I grew up on the front row seat of the American dream. My grandfather immigrated to this country from Ireland. Got on a boat when he was about our son's age and came across. He drove a bus for 40 years. I was named after him. He was the proudest man I ever knew. His Irish brogue still rings in my ears and in my heart. I watched my mom and dad move from Chicago to a small town in southern Indiana, have a little house with a cornfield in the backyard, and they build everything that matters. They build a family, a business, and a good name. I mean, I really watched my family live the American dream. And I was always raised to believe that the ideals of this country were what really united us and held us together. They drew people to America. And I think it's time for us, if you will, to return and repair to those ideals. The belief in freedom, the liberties enshrined in our founding documents, and the belief that we are, as we have ever been, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I just encourage you. I encourage you in this time, if you're inclined to bend the knee, like our little family is, it's a good time to pray for America. To pray that we could find a way to come back together to draw on that strength that has ever seen America through much more challenging times than we face today. And I believe, as has always been true for millennia, that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll hear from heaven again. And he will heal our land. I believe it with all my heart. So, that said, we've got a choice to make here in Colorado. It's coming up, I think, in about 98 days. We've got to roll our sleeves up and go after it. But with boundless faith in the American people and faith in him who set this miracle of democracy on these wilderness shores, I'll lay it out for you one more time. If you want a president who will protect this nation, rebuild our military, confront radical Islamic terrorism, and rid the world of ISIS, if you want a president who will restore law and order to our country and give law enforcement the resources, training, and support that they deserve, if you want a president who will cut taxes, grow our economy, squeeze every nickel out of that bloated federal bureaucracy, and repeal Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel, if you want a president who will upend the status quo in Washington, D.C. and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, I say to you here in Colorado, we have but one choice. That man is ready, this team is ready, and this country is ready for us to go out and work and not rest and not relent until we make Donald Trump the 45th President of the United States of America and make America great again. Well, thanks for letting me get that off my chest. I really do believe it's important that we remind ourselves what we already know. And I can tell you, Donald Trump and I are incredibly grateful for your support. But in the next 98 some odd days, we've got to go out and tell that story to neighbors and friends and help them count the cost. So I hope you leave here better equipped and encouraged and inspired to do that. Now I'd love to know what's on your mind. We've got some microphones. Where are my microphone folks in the room? Slip your hand in the air. I'd love it if you share your first name, and we'll have a conversation and let you all get to the balance of your day. You can start right here with this gentleman. What's your name?
My name is Max.
Hi, Max.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. The last time I was in Indiana, I was actually driving here from New Jersey. And I can tell you that one of the scariest sights I ever saw was the sign that says, "You're now leaving Indiana. Welcome to Illinois." You've seen the sign.
Yeah.
But for me personally, as someone with a concealed carry license, that's a very real threat to have to disarm before you cross what is essentially an artificial boundary. And I just wanted to ask you, I know that Donald Trump has put this forward in his platform, but I wanted to know your opinion on nationwide concealed carry reciprocity.
The right to keep and bear arms is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States of America. Our Supreme Court has affirmed that as an individual right. Donald Trump and I know that firearms in the hands of law-abiding citizens makes our communities more safe, not less safe. We will stand for the right of Americans to carry, the right of Americans to keep and bear arms. I promise you that from the bottom of my heart. But it's fun. You know, you mentioned Illinois. And, you know, the tale of two states between Illinois and Indiana is remarkable. Now, they've got a new Republican governor. He is fighting as hard as he can against a big Democrat majority in Springfield. But in the Hoosier State, it's amazing. You look back 10 years ago, Indiana and Illinois were about in the same place. Hundreds of millions of dollars in deficits and in debt. Economies struggling in what people called then, and some do now, the Rust Belt. And taxes were too high, schools had gone unreformed, and literally Illinois doubled down on the same failed policies that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama had been advancing throughout their career. Indiana went a different direction. I mean, we elected common sense conservative leadership. Since I've been governor and in my predecessor's administration, we balanced budgets. We eliminated debt in Indiana. We just reported a few weeks ago the largest budget reserves, a surplus in the history of the state of Indiana. And that was after the largest increase in education funding in Indiana history. $2.5 billion we invested in infrastructure, in roads and bridges, the most innovative Medicaid reform in the United States of America. And it was after I've cut taxes every single year that I've been governor. And we now have more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the 200-year history of the state of Indiana. The contrast with Illinois, you know, the unemployment rate has basically dropped in half since I've been governor, and Illinois has one of the worst economies in the country. Literally, the difference between Illinois and Indiana today is the difference between the kind of Democrat in this country. And we're going to redouble our efforts to identify and apprehend those who are planning harm against the people of the United States of America who are here. Trust me. It's going to happen. But the other thing we are going to do is Donald Trump is going to
voice our opinions freely. It isn't any different than our police officers either. My father is a retired California patrolman as well. So I just want to know, on a personal note too, and I know I'm probably not the only one, but I know that, but for our military who chose to be there, my son's in the Army National Guard. He volunteered for this position of deployment with his unit paid by the 1st Infantry Division. So pray for our military, and please, I'm going with this, knowing and trusting yours and Trump's decisions, what they're going to do for our military.
Well, I just want you to text him back before you leave and tell him I said thanks for your service. You guys have it. You guys speak. Donald Trump is absolutely committed to rebuilding our military after years of being hollowed out. And budget battles in Washington, D.C. have resulted in a military that's struggling in so many ways to provide our soldiers with the resources and the training that they need. And I'm conservative. I'm a penny pincher. When I was in Congress for 12 years, most of the battles I fought against the big spenders were big spenders in my own party, except about military spending. And I will tell you, whether it was budget deals or there was this deal a few years ago where we essentially said we're going to create a super committee to try and get some control of federal spending. And the penalty we put on that was if they couldn't come to some kind of an agreement, begin to put $19 trillion in debt in order that they'd have this thing called a sequestration that would result in budget cuts across the board for domestic and military spending. And I got to tell you, everybody voted for that because nobody thought that even Congress would be done enough to do that, right? I thought it'd be an incentive for them actually to do their job. But they didn't. And the changes that have been made and the leadership that Donald Trump is going to provide, we're going to restore, rebuild, and strengthen our military so that our soldiers who are deploying, like your courageous son, and the families who are home praying they're through it, can know that the best military in the world has the best support of any nation. I promise you. And let me also say, I've got a daughter here with us today. My niece lives in Denver. She came to visit us. Our daughter just graduated from college. I got another one will be a senior. But we're right there with you. My son is a United States Marine.
My name's Pete. I'm from Longmont, Colorado, and first of all, hats off to the Secret Service around here and throughout the nation. We're depending on these gentlemen, these ladies, keeping these two young gentlemen safe in the next 98 days. Hats off to you. My question real quick to Hillary. She stole the delegate. She stole Bernie Sanders' voters. She stole, we all know this. Moving forward, my question is how is the Trump and his campaign going to combat this election? We know she's going to steal this election, so my question is, moving forward, how can we prevent that?
It's absolutely, it's a tremendous question. I will tell you that the Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee are working very, very closely with state governments and the Secretary of States all over the country to ensure ballot integrity. But now is the time. We all here in Colorado and in the state of Indiana, there are people, you can work at the polls, you can be a part of that process. I encourage you to do it, folks. I mean, at the end of the day, elections just come down to who's registered to vote, who comes out to vote, and making sure that the integrity of the ballot, which these soldiers that we just celebrated want to
Winston, let me tell you, though, you really touched on a very important question, and that is the issue of education. You know, when I was first elected to Congress back in 2001, the very first bill that I was handed by a Republican president was called No Child Left Behind. It was the largest increase in the federal Department of Education since Jimmy Carter invented it. Okay? Right? And I was one of, I don't know, about 40 or 50 Republicans in the Congress that voted no, because I believe education is a state and local function that should be driven by the decisions of parents and teachers and administrators in our communities and in our states, and not by bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. In Indiana, we legally withdrew from Common Core. We worked on our own standards, curriculum, textbooks. These are decisions that ought to be made at home. And the other thing I believe about education is frankly, there's Donald Trump and I are both passionate about this. I'm proud to be from the state that has the largest educational voucher program in America. Donald Trump and I believe that American parents should be able to choose where their children go to school, regardless of their income or area code. School choice is an idea whose time has come. And Donald Trump will fight for it. Okay? You bet. And one of you security guys get Western back there. I want to see that. How about the young lady in the purple top? We'll have to make this the last one because I've got to run to Colorado Springs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
What's your name?
My name is Nada Jones, and I'm from Broomfield.
Nathan?
And anyway, my question to you is, how does the campaign plan to reach out to the blacks and Hispanics?
Well, let me say that the Republican Party was minted on equality of opportunity. Sometimes I want to remind people that I'm Jack Kemp. Some of you may remember Jack Kemp. He was my hero. He became my friend. And I'm a Jack Kemp Republican. Right? Jack would always point out that our very party was minted by someone who believed in equality in this country and fought for it and held the Union together by sheer force of will and saw us through the Civil War. That was the first Republican president. And I truly do believe, and it's important for everybody, that's the core of the identity of our party. And I think our message to Latinos, Hispanics, to African Americans, to people in every different community in this country is the same. It's to believe that whatever your race or creed in this nation, you want safe streets. You want a nation that is secure and free from the threat of terrorism. Wherever you come from, whatever neighborhood you live in, whatever your family background is, you want a prosperous America. You want to see policies in Washington, D.C. that unleash the full economic potential of this nation. And I think carrying an optimistic view of opportunity for every American, a growing America, and a safer America is the message that Donald Trump and I are going to carry all across this country. And I truly do believe that as I travel around the country just in the last few weeks, seeing the diversity of people that are coming out to our rallies, I know that message is resonating because people are identifying with the candor and the strong leadership that Donald Trump is providing. But we're going to work our hearts out. We're going to be out in communities. Just a few weeks ago, before I got the phone call, I was out walking neighborhood streets with a group of African American pastors in Indianapolis, just going door to door in a neighborhood group that literally walks the streets of some of the toughest neighborhoods in Indianapolis, and it's made an incredible difference in encouraging people and encouraging safe streets. So I promise you, our campaign is going to go to every community. We're going to reach out to every family in this nation, and it's going to be a message that we're going to make America great again with opportunities for all in this country. I promise you. So let me say now, thank you all for your patience. Thank you for being here today. But let me leave you here today. I hope this has been an encouragement. I mean, just hearing Weston speak was encouraging. But I hope here today you leave better equipped, but I also hope you have a burden on your heart. If you've heard something today, whether it was an aspiring parent who stood up about a son that